Let us look at this one particular question which I have received, Eastern Cape 2017 preparatory exam, and this is paper 2. You see that because of the trigonometry. Now, the question has an instruction, right, that says with the aid of a diagram and without using a calculator, find the value of cos x. This means you must show a diagram in your working. There's a possibility that a mark or marks even will be given for sketching that diagram. So please, as you read a question, make sure that you follow the instructions in your solution. So I will start with the diagram. What do I have here? I have a ratio sine 2x is square root 15 over 8. All right, and I know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Second condition that helps me to be very sure of the quadrant in which I'm supposed to draw this is the restriction around the angle. And I'm told that the angle 2x, take note that this is a double angle, and you are also given the ratio in terms of a double angle. So no issues there. So this has to be in the first quadrant as well, because that's where you have your 0 and 90. So I will draw my cast diagram here. That is your diagram that you work with. And you know, if you are in the first quadrant, then your right angle triangle has to look like this. It has to be that way. Please take note, your right angle is always towards the x-axis. So if this is my double angle 2x, then the opposite will be this side, which is square root 15, and the hypotenuse will be then. And then it becomes important that I use Pythag to find the third side. So if we quickly use Pythag, we know that this side here, let's call it x, it will be now x squared plus square root 15 squared is equal to 8 squared. I have a habit of using brackets whenever I substitute because it does make a difference when you substitute a negative number. So just as a habit, I've made it a principle that I substitute using brackets irrespective of the sign of the number. So this is x squared, that is 15. I know they said do not use a calculator, but I've realized that some folks really battle with this. So you're more than welcome to actually punch that into your calculator, this part on the square root of 15 squared. So this is one thing that I get. I get x squared is equal to, x squared plus 15 is equal to 64. That is the 64 being the square of 8. So if I, excuse me, if I group like terms, I'm solving the equation here. It's a quadratic. So I'm expecting two solutions. I get x squared equals to 49. And so by taking the square root both sides, I get that x is a plus or a minus 7. Being in the first quadrant means that I have to take the positive solution. So I will take 7. So x must be 7. I will fill that in my diagram. Right. Then I will start working out, hopefully find out what the value of cos x is. All right, remember, no calculators allowed. Well, if I use the triangle, I do not have x, but I have 2x, so I have a double angle. So in this case, it will be 7 over 8, okay, using a diagram. So that's why they said with the aid of a diagram. Now, how can I simplify cos 2x such that it will have cos x? Well, this is where you have to remember your double angles. So you go to your formula sheet. If you have not memorized those double angle formulae, you go to your information sheet and you will have three forms of the double angle for cosine. One of them, actually two of them, has sine in them. The first one is the difference of two squares, cos squared x minus sine squared x. The second one is 1 minus 2 sine squared x. And the third one is 2 cos squared x minus 1. Now, we don't want to complicate our lives by having to substitute sine x. Already we were given sine 2x. So you should then save yourself from the pain of having to do hard work and go for the simplest form of this identity. And in this case, it is 2 cos squared x minus 1. So I will then, in the place of cos 2x, substitute 2 cos squared x minus 1. And what is this thing equal to? It is equal to 7/8. Now, it's a matter of grouping like terms. So you will start then, I think I'll rather take 1 to the right-hand side. And please, guys, to save yourself time, you're rushing against time. If you're good with adding fractions, go ahead, get your 15/8. If not, then please just press that in your calculator, 7/8 plus 1, all right, so that you don't find yourself wasting 2 minutes trying to figure out how to add fractions or trying to remember how to add fractions. Okay, we've got this. Now, this is 2 cos squared x equals to 15/8, but I need to get rid of a 2. How do we get rid of that? Obviously, then we have to take the 15/8 and divide it by 2. So my suggestion here would be type it like this in your calculator. Yes, they said without using a calculator, but we're going to be smart about this whole thing. So type it like that in your calculator, and then I think you should get something like 15/6. So what does this simplify to? We will have now, actually, allow me to just erase this. I'm just going to show you, because sometimes what these examiners do is they want you to show every little step for the mere fact that they said without using a calculator. So you will go cos squared x is equal to 15/8 divided by 2. Maybe you could tip and times here and have that. And this is cos squared x, all right? And then we have cos squared x is equal to 15/16. Now, we have to find cos x, not cos squared x. So we take the square root both sides. Therefore, once again, we're going to have 2 solutions. But because we're in the first quadrant, we're going to take the positive solution. So this has to be square root 15, and square root 16 is 4. So that will be your final answer. 5 marks, and I think this working is worth 5 marks. I hope this helps you. Try a similar problem, go through other past papers and see if you can do this. Obviously, the problem may not necessarily be the same in terms of the quadrants or even the given ratio. You may get a simple angle instead of a double angle like we've had here, but give it a try and see whether you have understood the concept. Remember, you are more than welcome to send us a request also on a particular paper that you may be battling with. Send us that request on the WhatsApp line, and we'll put up a video explaining that. Thank you for joining.